All right. So I'm here at the health center, and we're going to talk about how smart this idea of doing kind of a hunger strike, or a strike on hunger, as I like to call it. So here's our nutrition person here. So dietitian, I'm so sorry. And then we've also got kind of an intern person that's checking us out as well, and just kind of shadowing and possibly getting freaked out about this whole idea. So I guess my first question is, what happens when I stop eating, or a person stops eating? Like, how does that all work in the body metabolism?
So, talk about metabolism, and kind of your energy sources as you go through this process. So, a normal individual.
What, I'm not normal?
No.
Okay.
So, normal eating individual, energy consuming individual, our bodies prefer sugar, and that's glucose in terms of the scientific term. As we're sitting here right now, we're primarily burning fat, but we're burning it at a very, very low rate, and it's also mixed with some sugar that we're burning to maintain those blood glucose levels. So you kind of have two stores of glycogen or glucose, your liver and your skeletal muscle. So your liver is kind of the reserves. It's feeding your brain, it's feeding your other organs, and it's feeding those blood sugar levels to maintain that homeostasis. Your skeletal muscle sugars are going to stay in that skeletal muscle. They're not going to seep and feed your blood levels. So in starvation, within about a day, 24 hours, maybe a little more, your liver is going to be depleted of all its stores. Okay?
Will that hurt? Like, will I feel anything, possibly?
You're going to feel more fatigued.
Okay.
It's not going to be really painful.
Okay.
But as you deplete your muscle stores, which is going to take that 3 to 5 day range, maybe a week at the most, that's when you're going to kind of feel not so hot. It's called transitioning into ketoacidosis or ketosis.
Okay.
And what you're doing is you're burning that fat instead of the glucose. So you might get headachy, you might get a little nauseous, you're definitely going to be more tired.
I felt nauseous yesterday.
Yeah, that's why. Because you're in the beginning stages and your body's like, what are you doing? Feed me.
Okay.
Okay. So your brain, like I said, prefers glucose, but it can run off those ketone bodies. So you still will be able to function, but it's not going to be at that capacity, that optimal level that you should be running at.
Okay.
So
what happens when I move on? Like, say I keep going and I end up going with past ketosis.
Past ketosis.
Yeah, what?
The danger zone.
Yeah, the danger zone. You know.
So eventually your body is going to run out of fat.
Okay.
Even the largest person, you're going to run out of fat stores.
That means I'll be super hot.
Oh yeah.
I'll be 0% body fat.
Can't function mentally, but that'll be great.
Chicks dig that.
Yeah, can't really walk to class. Eyes are all sunken in. Sexy.
Yeah.
So then the only thing we have left is our protein stores.
Okay.
So you start breaking down that muscle. Some research says you actually start breaking down your stomach.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's definitely a danger zone. You don't really want to be breaking down those things.
Okay.
Okay? Trying to think.
So is that how we see, people in developing countries, and, when we see, something on TV that, saves the children, and they're, super skinny and stuff?
Super skinny with the big bellies.
Yeah.
So, we kind of said that's called kwashiorkor.
Okay.
And it used to be thought that was the breakdown of the cells, the cell wall, because you don't have fat in the cell to keep that structure. And then it was the seepage of that fluid. Now it's more thought to be a parasite or a bacteria that's actually causing that big belly syndrome. So when you see the other side of that, like you see in cancer patients, or you just see those really cachectic looking individuals, that is marasmus, and that is the epitome of starvation. So there's pretty much nothing left but bone and tendon and maybe that small amount of protein and fat that is kind of keeping them alive. Yeah, so don't get to that point. Because then you get into refeeding, and refeeding syndrome. Yeah. it's kind of trying to bring you back from the dead, because you're so depleted that you're almost shocking the system once you bring food back in, and you kind of get these electrolyte shifts, which can cause heart attacks, can cause like instant death, essentially, because you don't have that homeostasis, you don't have that balance, and then all of a sudden you're throwing food into the mix and your body's like, whoa, and it's just sensory overload in a very simplistic way of putting it.
Not to put you on the spot or anything like that,
Yeah.
but I mean, how long would that take to get there where it's like that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look at like concentration camp individuals and you look at third world nations, and they go for months without eating if you do have some water source and if you do have some kind of electrolyte source. Electrolytes being your potassium, sodium, chloride, magnesium, kind of keep your organs going, your heart beating at least.
Yeah.
So it kind of depends on the individual. You could do it for a couple months. I don't know what the longest point is that somebody's
we're not looking for any records
accomplished
here.
that.
We're just trying to check out what it's like. So would you recommend anybody trying to do anything close? Like, is there like 1 day, 2 days? What's a safe time to like...
To starve yourself?
Yeah. Put it straight up, I guess.
Actually.
Okay.
So if you go to like the Atkins diet, that's what it's primarily based off of. Those initial stages are getting into that ketosis. So you start burning that fat, you depleted your glycogen stores. And yeah, it works for immediate weight loss, but in the end, those people have shown to gain back the weight because you're not really changing a lifestyle. You're just depleting your body, so it's not really going to help anything.
So,
don't recommend it at all.
Okay, all right. So, suppose I'm going to leave the office right now and go ahead and continue with day 2 of my little strike on hunger. What are some things I should look for, like so far as making sure I'm staying somewhat safe?
So you really want to look for dehydration. And that edematous state. So if you get to the point where you go like this and your skin kind of like stays up for that a long period, if my skin kind of stayed in that point and didn't really drop, that's a classic sign of dehydration. If you look for the swelling in your ankles, that's that edema. So there is some kind of seepage out of the cells of that inside fluid. Definitely look for slowing or abnormal heart rate, because that's going to be a really big indicator of electrolyte loss.
Okay.
Not something that you really want to mess around with at all. So make sure your pulse is kind of up still. You know, when you stand up, you might feel a little dizzy because you don't have that blood pressure going on. Any kind of sign of passing out, definitely not. Not a good thing to get into. So those classic.
Okay. And like juices might be a good thing to maybe think about right away to start implementing.
Yeah, so if you really want to cut out food, you still want some kind of source besides water. I mean, water is the essence of life, but it doesn't have any nutrients. It doesn't have those electrolytes in it. So doing some diluted juice, if you don't want to do, a full cup of apple juice or orange juice, or even the Gatorade juices or the great Gatorade drinks to bring back some sugar and to bring back some of those electrolytes. Make sure your heart keeps pounding.
Okay. Yeah, that's really
Might
important.
be a good idea.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, are there any other thoughts or ideas as to how long or whether or not I should continue or not?
Well, if you look at like starvation diets on the internet, they typically classify them as 50% of your needs, your metabolic needs. So when we talk to individuals about losing weight, we never want to go below 1,000 calories a day. That's kind of our set point. Just because to maintain daily function, you need about 1,000 calories a day. So even if you're drinking a Gatorade a day, it's only going to be 300 to 400 calories, maybe 500 at the most. So you're essentially still way below that point. You can maintain life. The quality is not going to be so great.
Okay.
And I don't recommend it.
Okay. All right. Well, any words from our intern?
No, did a great job.
Okay. All right. Well,
good luck.
That's the end of that. Been wished good luck by the dietitian. and told not